Hello, hello, everybody. Jamie here. I am live, hopefully. I'm live currently in my Facebook group. I am live on YouTube right now and on my Facebook page. So wherever you are watching us from, say hello. If you're watching this on replay, say hi watching this on replay because we like to know who's watching. And today we're going to be getting a little tactical. So we are going to be talking about what is going on. It is already January 11th. I was just talking to the guest I'm going to bring up here in just a minute about the fact that it's somehow already January 11th. I don't know how that happened. I feel like we were just, singing Old Lang Syne and clinking champagne glasses, but it is January 11th. So obviously, this is the, time that we are focused heavily on finances. We have a lot of to-dos. There are a lot of financial to-dos that happen in January. So I wanted to bring in somebody who can get tactical with us, can talk about what we should be focusing on in January, and really how to kind of close out 2022 in the best way possible. I see lots of good mornings. I'll have you guys, if you haven't yet, and hopefully my team member Crystal is on here, but there is a link to give StreamYard the permission to see your name if you're watching me from the Facebook group, which is probably why it's showing Facebook user. And I want to be able to see your name and your pretty picture on this screen. So just make sure to hit that link and then you should be able to. The only person I can see so far, I see lots of mornings, but I see Myrnie. Hi, Myrnie. Myrnie's one of our preferred vendors as well. So, but lots and lots of Facebook users around here. Here's Ingrid. Happy New Year, Ingrid. Hope everybody's well. Oh, we have a good crowd here from all the different platforms. So I'm going to bring my guest on up real quick and introduce her. So for y'all who don't know her, this is Christina Springstead. She is one of my preferred vendors. We love Christina around here. If you're in our Facebook group, you probably see posts and great nuggets from her. And so we wanted to bring her in. We thought this was a great time of year while everybody's got all of the things on their mind, right? All the things, sometimes too many things on our mind. I thought we'd bring in Christina, who she does a lot of different things. She's a Profit First certified coach. She is a bookkeeper. She does all kinds of things. I'll let her introduce herself to you really quickly, but we love Christina around here. So Christina, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll jump on into what we need to be focusing on in 2023, in January of 2023 right now, when it comes to all this financial stuff.
Yes. Well, hello, everyone. Christina, coming at you from, I can't say sunny California, but California right now. We're getting some rain, which is great. I'm a Midwest girl, so I'm from the Midwest, have lived in California, so I claim both. Depends on who I'm talking to. But I am the CEO and founder of Springstead Solutions, which really came about from running businesses for years, but I've always had a passion for numbers. And so put those things together. I can do bookkeeping and profit strategy, which brings my numbers and serving others together. So that's what I've done. I'm now living out my dream of helping people with their numbers and getting to know my clients and helping them build businesses that will last for years and years to come. And part of that lasting is making sure you're closing out your accounting year. So
yes, that is very, very true. And Christina and I bond on our love of numbers. We both love numbers. We're just that kind of nerd, right?
And spreadsheets,
but also our
Jimmy,
love of profit strategy and spreadsheets. We love spreadsheets and profit strategy and all the things, just because it's so powerful. So that was what we kind of initially connected on. And Christina's been a preferred vendor for a long time with me. So I love having her. Okay, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about, everybody's got the swirling stuff, right? We probably are like, okay, end of the year, maybe we've started thinking about taxes, maybe we haven't. What do we need to be doing right now in the middle of January when it comes to our books for last year?
Well, there's a handful of things, and we're going to go over these, and I do have a checklist that Jamie's going to talk about later you can download. So
yes.
If you don't need to take notes, just listen and download the checklist. It'll help. But
yeah, let me put that. I think Crystal's on, and she will put the link for your checklist so that people can go in and grab that so that they have it. Because I love a good checklist too.
Yes, and I did a little bit of high level, but one is the first thing that's on there is a tax strategy consultation. It's a little late right now, so first thing is mark your calendar for like October, November next year to check in with your tax preparer for tax strategy.
Yep.
But that is right now, start thinking about the compliance items, right? So for bookkeeping, we're in like the Super Bowl of the year. We've got W-2s, we've got 1099s, we've got all the normal quarterly stuff that's happening. So for you as a business owner, make sure, one, that you're checking in with your bookkeeper really quick. Is there information that is missing that they need? If you have a bookkeeper doing this. For yourself, start making sure that you have your W-9s for your vendors that you paid, right? So 1099s are going to be due very soon. Make sure that you're educating yourself on the 1099. Jamie's got great trainings at her YouTube channel, so go over there and check it out. But make sure that you got your W-9s so you can send out your 1099s so you can get those business deductions if you have them. If you don't, that's a problem. So you want to start working on that. And there's a link in there that you can read up about the 1099. So make sure you understand an NEC and an MIS and which is which. 1099K is a whole other conversation.
Always changing. Yeah.
Yes. Literally up to the last week changing.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing that worry about. And then if you have payroll, we want to worry about preparing to send W-2s. So asking for address updates if you have them, understanding that even if your employees get them digitally and they ask for them paper-wise, you need to be prepared to pay that. So understand that you as the business owner, make sure you're working with your payroll provider, that is all being taken care of. So you can have peace of mind that your compliance is being done. Even though they say they're going to do it, just make sure that for sure they're getting filed. I've heard some horror stories. Secondly, reconciling your accounts. Make sure that you have gone through your accounting system, whatever that might be, and reconciling out through December. And if you're a cash basis, which a lot of us in this community probably are, you need that January statement and to reconcile through the end of that too, because it has some December dates. So you want to make sure you're getting your banks, your credit cards, your loans reconciled out correctly. So make sure you're doing that, or your preparer is actually reconciling your loan accounts out properly, because that affects your financial statements, right, Jamie? If they're in there.
Yeah. And I love reconciliations because, and it's one of the things that, a lot of business owners, when they do their own books, they skip this step, but it's probably maybe the most important step, because reconciling out, what that really means is we're comparing what's in our accounting system, right, to what actually is in the bank statement. And when you do that, the amazing thing is, as frustrating as it can be, especially if you haven't done it all year, right? Or if you're doing like multiple months at once or something like that to try to catch up, it can be super frustrating when you're out and you're trying to figure out why. But the amazing thing about reconciliations is they help you find problems, right? So if you've got an issue with like somehow your income got doubled or something, usually it's also going to show up in your reconciliations. And so it may feel like it's not a big deal to reconcile, but that may be showing up. The flip side of that problem in your bank reconciliation is probably showing up somewhere in your P&L. And that is why it is so important to sit down and actually reconcile your books. I am a huge proponent of this. If you haven't done it, do it, or get somebody to help you do it. Also, that's we're going to talk about that, right? If you're like, if you're listening to, oh my gosh, there's so much to do, how am I going to get through this all? There are people that do this, and they do this, they're trained to do this, like Christina, hint, hint. So there is help available.
Yes. And that is if you're a DIYer, which is fantastic. One, and lots of plugs for good reason. If you're a DIYer and you're not really understanding what's happening when you're doing your books and you're reconciling, take Jamie's Financial Fitness Basics class. Important, a good structural foundation to understand what you're doing. But also when you go to reconcile, if you're doing it yourself, the end game is to check off as many of those dots as possible. So if you do not have if you have a bunch of dots that are still in your thing that don't reconcile, that are old, major trigger to go check. You've got duplications of stuff happening. And that means your numbers are off, and that's a huge problem and might explain maybe frustrations you had. So reconciling out. The other two about the liabilities, right, is making sure you're splitting what goes on your balance sheet and what goes on your profit and loss. And a lot of times that's a big trigger that doesn't get done. So make sure you're splitting your loan payments.
Yep. Debt is the big place where that happens.
Yep.
Right. And that's the frustrating thing, is that oftentimes if we don't do that, either we're putting all of our debt on our P&L, which it shouldn't be. It's only the interest, right? or we're doing the opposite. We're not getting any deductions for that expense. So again, these things, if you have debt, you want to make sure you have a really good understanding of what goes where in your accounting records, right?
Yeah, well, and make sure you're reconciling that monthly, because what happens is if you don't, and you have a good CPA who sends you journal entries, your P&L takes a major change once they send you that journal entry. So
Yes.
you want to be
And
doing
that
that.
impacts taxes and all the things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So reconcile your liabilities monthly, everybody. And so that is, once you've reconciled everything, it's really reviewing your receivables and your payables journals, right? So if you have that uh, in your QuickBooks account, or maybe you don't use bills, you want to check, do you have AR sitting in there that doesn't look correct? Is it really old and you know you collected it? Or do you have payables in there that you say, I paid this, why is it still showing opening?
Yep.
So really look at those reports. And a Q2 is look at any account, if you print it and it starts with uncategorized asset, income, expense, we need to review these things, because the CPA doesn't want to see that, and neither does Uncle Sam.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the things that I tell people, right, is that when you're reviewing your P&L, and if you've got a whole bunch in like an other bucket, right? So I'm an ex-auditor. I used to audit companies. I would go in, I would look at their financial statements. What's the number one thing? This is like a come and look at me, like delve into this, was when they would have a whole bunch of stuff in the other bucket. You're like, okay, let's jump in here. There isn't reason, because sometimes things really don't fit in other places. But sometimes that also means maybe they're not deductible, or maybe we're being a little bit like, we're getting a little bit liberal with how we are categorizing things. So the other bucket is it is an IRS red flag. So take a look at what that is. If there's a little bit in it, it's fine. But if it's half your P&L, half your expenses are showing up in other, let's dive into that. And uncategorized is another one. You can't have anything uncategorized. Or ask my accountant. I've seen that on tax returns, y'all. I've seen that. Ask my accountant as a line on a tax return in the other. And I'm like, oh, Lord, don't do it.
Yeah. So if you have those accounts, which is fine, you need to be communicating with your preparer, but have notes in there so that they know what these are, so they can help you and learn where they need to go. But yeah, those are big triggers. It should be a trigger for your bookkeeper and for your tax preparers, and just for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things even I'm looking at right now, is like anything that happened to end up in uncategorized somehow or whatever. I love, as much as I hate reconciliations, going back to that, one of my favorite things in the entire world is seeing, like, when I do the reconciliation and there's that 0 up there and I've everything's been captured. I feel like I won the world. Like, I feel like I deserve a medal. They should give medals for that. Like, QuickBooks, I'm going to put this into support that they create confetti that comes down when your books reconcile, because that is what I feel like is needed.
Yeah. And
an important system update that needs to happen.
Yes. Well, and a bonus one is when it's green and you don't have a bunch of stuff.
And you don't have a bunch of stuff that you had to deselect.
Exactly. Yes,
exactly.
100%.
Exactly. Like, we need come on, that would make it so much more fun, I feel like.
Absolutely. Yeah. So moving from there, you want me to move on to where we're?
Yeah. Let's talk about then, if you're in a place where you're like, okay, I need help. Like, my books are a mess, which, first of all, everybody says their books are a mess. Everybody's worried about hiring somebody because they think that their books are the worst they've ever seen. I can promise you they're not. Right, Christina?
I promise you they're not. Yeah.
If you need help right now, what should people do?
Well, one, reach out to a provider that you've liked. So I'd say first thing, go to Jamie's preferred vendors list. I'm listed there. But start interviewing providers, because there are a ton of us. We're at all different levels. You're going to see stuff, but you want to, my first clue is make sure that you connect with the person and feel comfortable. Because like you said, most people, this is a very intimate business relationship, probably one of the most intimate ones you can have. So if you're looking for a bookkeeper, you want to make sure, one, that you connect with them you like them, you get a good feeling about them. And then two, make sure you're asking some questions. Yeah. And then be honest about your concerns and your vulnerabilities. And three, Jamie and I were talking about this. When you are ready to go talk to a bookkeeper, please understand this is an investment and not an expense. Jamie does great trainings on that and several videos, but Find someone, understand it. If you're going to get good bookkeeping, it's going to cost you. It's not going to be the cheap ones that you find online where you can't talk to someone personal, but make sure you're getting service and that you're comfortable with that. And that's someone that you can talk to regularly, because this is one of the most important things that your business needs for you to understand where you're at, make decisions with where you're going, determine what you can invest, and have a solid financial foundation so you can exist for years to come.
Yeah. And it's a big rite of passage, I think, when we go from trying to do everything ourselves, or maybe putting off everything ourselves, right? Mm-hmm. To hiring this out. And it can feel scary because it feels like an expense. But when you think about the fact that, okay, you're getting time back because now you don't have to worry about those things. Yeah. And now you have access to the data that you need. And a good bookkeeper can also make sure that your books are set up in a way that you can pull what you need out of it easily so that you can make decisions in your business better, right?
Yep.
And making better financial decisions in your business will lead to more money. So a good bookkeeper will save you time and save you money. And so that's kind of the reframe around it. I know it feels scary walking into that when we're like, oh, that's an extra X amount per month that I have to now come up with. But again, over time, that investment will show itself. And a lot of people say the best investment they ever made into their business was people to help them with their finances, right? Yeah. Sorry. This happened to me last time too. I need some more water in the morning or something.
Drink the coffee.
I know. Not very hydrating.
Yeah, and I would agree, and I would partner with that too. Is a lot of times, it is an investment, but good bookkeepers who will work with you and start to understand you and grow with you, oftentimes end up paying for themselves because it frees you up and allows you to make the right decisions. That what you've saved in time, or the more money you can make because you're not doing this, they're actually paying for themselves. So a plug for when you're ready. But the other thing is the bookkeepers in this community, along with tagging with Jamie's trainings. You've got someone who you just need to call. You've got someone who wants to teach you to DIY. You've got someone. You're ready to move it over to someone to take it off your plate. You've got someone. So lots of resources.
Exactly. There are lots of people out there. And I love your point about like making sure you connect with them because, and that's why our preferred vendor list is all women. Not that you can't connect with a man, but I do feel like I've been in relationships where I'm pretty savvy when it comes to money, y'all. And I still feel like I get mansplained at times. And there are some amazing men in this field, but I feel like sometimes it's easier to be open and feel comfortable with another woman if you are a woman business owner. That's just been my take, and that's what a lot of people have told me, is that there is such a personal element to it that when you feel like you're friends with the person, when you feel like you can have, a coffee chat with them and they're not going to judge you, it's a different experience. So we really focus on not just women, not just putting women on the list, but also putting women that we feel like have that same view of no shame, no judgment, like, let's get this. We want to help you. That's what we're here for. That's what we do, right? Like, we wouldn't have jobs otherwise. So we are not going to judge you for that.
Well, we're nurturers by nature, right? And I think there's another thing is just real quick for when you're going to look for a bookkeeper, keep this short, is make sure you understand are they transactional in focus? They're there to put your data in and send you your data out, and that's really their focus. Or are they strategic focused, where they're more looking to connect with you and have meetings with you? So really understand what you're getting into and understand what you're paying, because you want that relationship where you can communicate with them. And customize this to your business, because no business is the same. No matter what a chart of accounts looks like, every business is different.
Absolutely. And what questions should you ask when you're walking in to work with any kind of financial service provider, but specifically a bookkeeper in your case? What are the best questions to ask?
Background and training. I think that's really important. I've said this, and I think it's great that there's QuickBooks Pro Advisor training, and that's fantastic. But if that's the only training they have, that's a concern. You want to understand, do they understand accounting fundamentals? I've seen a lot of bookkeepers, because we unfortunately don't have a license to go get certified in, right? We can, but we don't have to. Just understand their background and that they understand accounting fundamentals. Jamie's programs have great questions, again, financial fitness basics, things you should be asking if they're going to be doing. What are you wanting? Are they willing to work with you, or do they just do the transactions? Like, what is their process, and how often do you have access to them?
Yeah.
So those to me are the really important things. Is you want to make sure they have accounting fundamental understanding, not just they understand how to put things into QuickBooks.
Well, and I think it's understanding, like, what are they actually doing, right? Yeah. And so I think we think bookkeeping is one thing, and depending on who you talk to, it can be a lot of different things, right? Similar to, cleanup and things like that. Like, what are you actually doing at the end of the day? What do you need? And make sure that that aligns. And I think
Right.
sometimes we're afraid to ask, like, what do you actually do? Because we feel like we should know. But the answer to that question is it's different for every bookkeeper what they're actually doing. And some of these, I won't call, okay, I'll call out specifically, like some of these like bench accounting and things like that are doing like very bare bones of what bookkeeping is, right? It's not what we would consider actual fulsome bookkeeping, but it's enough to get by, right? So it depends. And that may work in the very beginning of your business, right? Like that may be what you need, right? If you're self-employed contractor, like you may not need a whole heck of a lot. But as you're growing and scaling a business, right? You're gonna want more than just that. So you want somebody that can grow with you and help you and, at times advise you when necessary, right? On things. And so I think it's really important to ask those questions and ask the questions around like what type of I think sometimes there's the compliance aspect and then there's the advisory aspect. So, do they offer the advisory aspect? Oftentimes that might be an additional cost to add advisory, which is fine. You just want to be upfront about what they're doing. I think that's one of the biggest problems that people walk into a relationship with any financial service provider. Taxes as well is the same way, right? Are they just preparing your taxes or are they going to advise you on how to save taxes, next year, right? Are they going to be looking for those opportunities? And the answer may vary depending on who you're working with and the package that you're paying for even at times, right? So just ask the questions. Don't feel afraid to ask those questions. If you don't feel like you understand, keep digging, right?
Yes.
And if it's a person that doesn't want to answer those or they're annoyed by those questions, well, now you've figured out that may not be the person for you to work with, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
The best service providers want you to be really aware of what you're getting because that's going to help them later. They want to make sure that the expectations align, right? That's really, really key when you walk into any relationship with any service provider, but definitely, from a financial standpoint. So, that's awesome. I love seeing how many of our other preferred vendors are on here. We've got Myrnie, if y'all are looking for financial planner. We've got April's on here too, who's one of our preferred vendors as well for bookkeeping. So take a look through. Christina, tell us who's a perfect client for you?
So a perfect client for me is first and foremost has a good sense of humor. No,
I like that.
But someone who understands that they have to be invested in their business finances. You don't have to understand it. You don't have to love it. But when you're ready to hire, that you are treating that as a partnership and not a vendor, right? Like this is a partnership that you're willing to communicate and understand. And someone who has grace to understand the first couple months when you're working with a new bookkeeper can be a little rocky because we're learning about your business and inevitably things are not disclosed and we find them through numbers and we're like, what this? So really establishing a good baseline is that. So someone who has that, someone who is wanting to take their business serious and not just push the financial off to us. Service providers are great. And then people who have been like, I want to move into this. I want to understand my finances better. Contractors, I work with specialty contractors, not the larger GMs, and then service providers. And then if you're not sure, you can click the link and we can talk and see.
Yeah, so go check out the link to her webpage. Crystal will put it down below, but you can also just go to our general preferred vendors page, which you can go to jamietroll.com and you can navigate to preferred vendors and find all of our preferred vendors. But go check out Christina. You can answer some questions because she's going to also pre-qualify so that you don't get on the phone with her if you're not a good fit. She'll tell you that. So there are some questions to answer so that you can then go and look at potentially scheduling a consult for her if you are a good fit for her. Here's the website to connect with her. And like I said, you can also find this on our preferred vendors page. But go check it out and see, again, like this is a good thing to talk to people and find somebody that is a good fit for you. Again, this is a time when bookkeepers they're booking up. So bookkeepers are getting kind of busy. So it can be hard to find someone. Also, you want to make sure that they have capacity to help you. So you want to do this as soon as possible. If you don't have somebody and you want somebody to help you with 2022, I would do this ASAP, because there's a lot to be done, right? Especially if you want help. January 31st is the deadline for 1099s and things like that. So, you want to kind of work fast to be able to get that relationship going and established. And then they can also help you get ready and be fully ready for tax time. So that's a great thing about bookkeepers. I'm a big proponent of having people, I think it's a two-prong. When we're talking about finances, right? I want people to have education, the education that they need, and to empower themselves, because you're going to make better decisions when you have education, but also when you have the people around you to help you that are experts in this. That is like the best combination. You don't want to fully outsource it. You want to have some of that education yourself, but then you want to partner with people who do this for a living. That is going to set you up for success. I do want to really quick, because I have seen a couple of questions come through about desktop. So tell us a little bit about your thoughts about desktop. Now, I do know you don't work with desktop, right? But
it's not I do work with desktop, but
okay,
this is an excellent question because of the access. There's a couple of programs you can use, right? Networks, Qbox. There's different hosting programs where you can get involved there. They can cause some trickiness, and I think that there's a reason that a lot of us bookkeepers are going to the online, is because it's the convenient access. So how do you hire a bookkeeper using QB Desktop? There are still a ton of bookkeepers who do it. Most of them, if they're remote, they're probably going to be online. But yeah, check out Qbox. April Miller is really great about this, and I know she's listening, so she might be able to share her link for that. And then Right Networks, and there's a couple other hostings for desktop.
Yeah. And there's another person, we can't see your whole comment. So I'm going to have Christina come back to this after this and look at this, Denise, about your specific situation. Looks like you're a general building contractor. So I'll have her take a look at that and answer you directly after this live. But make sure to grab that checklist. We're also going to share it in the group, in the Financial Literacy for Women Business Owners group today. So you can grab it from that post as well. And definitely reach out to Christina or take a look at our preferred vendors and see who might be a good fit for you. This is the best time to be doing it. Don't wait, because they will get booked up, and we do try to keep that updated on our website so that people know that they're fully booked. So make sure to reach out soon. Thank you for coming, Christina. Yeah. I love having you each and every time we get to chat, because we're so aligned on so many things and so passionate about a lot of the same subjects. So I love getting you in front of everybody, and have a wonderful day.
You too.
Rest of your Wednesday, and we'll see everybody soon. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye. Oh wait, I forgot. Hang on. I totally forgot. I forgot to tell people also, this was on my list and then I got too wrapped up in the bookkeeping stuff. If you haven't signed up for our planning meeting, okay? So again, you want to get your bookkeeping, but also we're doing a planning meeting. It's only $47. This is the only time we've done a workshop. Yep, she's got my workbook. So I'm running a live workshop next Wednesday. So 1 week from today, it's the 18th of January. You want to be there. Go to jamietrell.com/plan. We're going to go through the worksheet, the guide. We're also I'm going to give you an extra ROI worksheet where we're going to talk about return on investment. Yay. We're going to plan the best and most profitable 2023 yet. It's only 2 hours. It's going to be amazing. And you need to be there. So if you haven't signed up yet, make sure you sign up. jamietrell.com/plan. I think that's the right link.
Yeah, I'll be there.
If it doesn't work, let me know. Here we go. It is. Crystal says it is, so it is. All right. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye.